Give you the. All right. Well, now give you the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have roll call, Tracy?
Counselor Dunsmere,
Present.
Counselor Gates,
Here.
Counselor Hughes, Counselor Litkey,
Here.
Counselor Strobel,
Here.
Counselor Tenbush,
Here.
Mayor Drinkwater.
Here. Thank you very much. We are now at our first presentation by the school district, the guest presentation. We'll let Ryan give us an overview of what's happening over there.
Oh, no. Gotta go get that. Yep, as you need them.
Right, council, and just thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to come back to school district, and I'd like to welcome or say hello to our counselors who are joining via Zoom today too. We appreciate your service. I'm joined this evening by our school board chair, Ken Rydell, and director John Walper. So very excited to, again, be able to represent our community in so many different pathways. And together, I think we make a strong team, and I very much look forward to more opportunities for us to partner together as we build a thriving community as one team. My hope today is just to kind of give a quick update on how the Esticated School District is going to the council and the Esticated School District and its city limits. In general, the Esticated School District is having quite an incredible year, especially in comparison to other of our surrounding districts and our neighboring districts when it comes to enrollment, student achievement, as well as financially and some of the projects that we're working towards together. So I hope to be able to just fill you in a little bit on that process. And maybe if you could click it to the next slide for me, please. Just very quickly to remind everybody that we are in year 4 of a 5-year strategic plan. Yeah, there you go. Of our 5-year strategic plan. Next year, our strategic plan should sunset. This is really the first true visionary mission, vision, and value strategic plan that's ever been incorporated by the Esticated School District. And the reason why we have been very proud of this progress is because this has really been our true opportunity to hold ourselves accountable to meet the mission, vision, and values of the Esticated community on what it wants for its school district. And so throughout this 4-year process, we've been intensely focused on continuous improvement, trying to hit our benchmarks that have been set for us by our community. And so just in short, our goal is for 85% of all of our students to demonstrate proficiency in their grade level standards. Last year, we ended the school year at 72%. So again, in our 5-year plan, we're just 13% behind, and we're continuing to make continual gains. And that's noteworthy because we also had to experience a pandemic and a wildfire, which displaced our community for, in some cases, several weeks, dependent upon the family. And so although we know that we are short in our goal, but still have 1.5 years to get to, we are very pleased with the progress as we've been put in some pretty uncircumstantial times, and we're still continuing to close gaps. We're also very focused on our employee engagement and our commitment to service excellence, as well as ensuring that our students are engaged as they come to our schools each and every single day. You'll notice that on a 5-point scale in a survey to Esticated School District's roughly 300 employees, give or take, we scored a 4.22 out of 5 last spring. We're the first public school district in the state of Oregon to be named as the Oregonians' top workplace. And so during the pandemic, through some of the other just typical political strains that we're seeing inside of public education, Estacada's employees are telling their employer that the Estacada School District is a great place to work. And that's helping us with retention. It's helping us as we combat burnout. And it helps us as we recruit talents to come out to this community and become a part of our Estacada School District family. We're also very much focused on parent satisfaction. At the end of the day, the parents are our constituents as well, and we want them to be proud of the school district that they send their children to, and that a school district reflects its values. You'll notice on a 5-point scale last spring, our parents scored their school district a 4.02 out of 5. So we're very pleased with the overall parent satisfaction of our school district. We know that we're not perfect. We know that we have lots of room for improvement, but we're also very pleased that this score indicates that we've built a close enough relationship with our community that as we have our ups and downs together as one team, we're an open door and an opportunity to work with people. Lastly, we're focused on our school is clean. We want to continue to update and upgrade our facilities. We've been unsuccessful in a couple of bond campaigns, which means we're still on the hook to try to find a way to improve our facilities to 21st century learning in 1960s, 1950 buildings. Because we're paid a certain amount per kid, and that money should be allocated towards the kids coming through our experience right now, it makes it difficult for us to continue to upgrade. And I'll talk a little bit more about creative and innovative ways that we're trying to keep up with our repairs without that additional funding. And last but not least, I do want to point out in our strategic plan, you'll notice the bottom one is sustainable finances. Our goal inside our strategic plan is to have 0 findings in our audit. And this is the 3rd year in a row that we've had a perfect audit from our school district. And so as we try to build transparency and trust about public school finance, we're excited to share with our community that the taxpayer money that they're investing in Estacada's children is being spent appropriately. And we're very proud of 3 consecutive years of a perfectly clean audit. So money is being spent well, it's ethical, and it's being prioritized and focused on kids. If you could scroll down just really quick. One of the frequent questions that we're receiving really throughout the community is, can our schools continue to handle the capacity and growth of this booming Estacada city? I do want to point out that we are very pleased with this growth, and we are enjoying the experiences of new young families moving into our community and receiving their education inside the Estacada School District. But you will notice the red line. The Estacada School District right now currently has more students than it's had in the past 10 years. We're continuing to grow, and we're very proud about that. We also think, by the way, that this red line to some extent is deceptive. We know that during the pandemic, we've had hundreds of families who have chosen to homeschool, go to charter schools, or get their education from a different place. We believe next school year, now that the masks are off and things are returning back to quote, normal, unquote, that we'll recapture some of those families who we lost, including a lot of the families who we've already gained. The Estacada School District is the only school district in Clackamas County that has remained in the black when it comes to retaining its student population. North Clackamas has lost several hundred kids, Westland Wilsonville, several hundred kids. We have maintained, as you can see here, our student population through that pandemic. And that tells us that we've put a product together that our community supports, and we're very proud of that. If you'll continue to scroll down, I just want to talk money really quickly. The Estacada School District is doing well financially in terms of its fiscal sound responsibility. It's important for the community who's listening and our city council. We receive about $9,000 per kid is where taxpayer money comes to us. It's how we get paid, is by the kid. And in this case, it's about $9,000 per kid. Now, obviously, in order to pay for a close to a $40 million budget, the tax base inside the Estacada city limits is not enough to pay for all of the kids who come into our school district. And so it's important to note, because a lot of people say my taxpayer money pays for X. Well, the truth of the matter is your taxpayer money pays for 19% of X. It's really everybody's taxes that go down to Salem, and then ultimately we're allocated the money to run our school system for our kids. And so 7.35 million of our $39 million budget comes from Estacada property tax proper. The remaining 26.7 million comes from around the state of Oregon to help support our kids. I just thought that that was a fun fact for you all to know. So you can see that we get 67% of our funding in Estacada from the state, and 19% comes from the community. We are projected to end this school year with a $4.98 million end fund balance. Now, why end fund balance should mean something to you is because that will tell you the financial health of our school district. It's recommended that school districts end the school year with between 5 and 15% in an end fund balance. If you're a bigger school district like Portland Public, 5% is more acceptable. If you're a smaller district like us, 15% is more acceptable. So think of this end fund balance as, can we pay our bills for 3 months if the state were to stop paying us tomorrow? And so I can tell you that at this point, the Esticated School District has been fiscally responsible enough to make sure that our end fund balance is held over in a way that we're going to be about 12% this year. So that should tell you financially, we're doing pretty healthy in terms of making sure that we've got money there. The final piece I want to talk to, and then the board and I would love to answer any questions that you may have, is you're seeing a lot of construction projects going on around our school district, and we are very proud of these projects. And there are things that are needs, not wants. So the first one, which is probably the most known around our community, is our installation and a safety upgrade of a turf field inside Buzz Randall Stadium. The one thing I want to make crystal clear to everyone listening tonight is that this money does not come from our general fund. In fact, we partner with the city as the construction excise tax. So for every dollar that a community member is taxed for taking out a new building permit, that dollar goes into a savings account. And over the course of 8 years, our school district has saved a little under $2 million. And we're utilizing this $2 million that we've saved over the course of 8 years to upgrade our football stadium. Our football stadium has had multiple games canceled due to safety reasons. We are limited in terms of its usage and capacity. And so by putting an artificial playing surface there should allow for our community and our school district to use that field 7 days a week, all the way until the city ordinance says we can't make noise anymore, which we're going to need to talk about. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But nonetheless, we're very excited to open this field up to our community for more usage, which supports our kids and our community. Over spring break, we had a water main line break inside our main gymnasium, which you can see here in the middle picture. You now can skateboard. It's kind of like a skate park inside our gym, although that now has been removed. That gym floor is the original gym floor of 1965. Unfortunately, it has passed in a shameful way. We would have loved to have been able to replace this floor and give this floor to so many of our heritage families who have great memories on this floor. But thankfully, our insurance is covering the full cost of this gym floor. So again, it's not of any impact to our taxpayers. And it's an opportunity, again, for us to upgrade not only what is a basketball and volleyball floor, it's also something that hosts our kids in PE 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So looking forward to an improved facility there. And then last but not least, as we continue to focus on growth, we are increasing our portable classrooms thanks to ESSER fund money. That's the federal dollars that were provided to us through the COVID funds. We've been able to add 2 portables at Rivermill, adding 4 more classrooms to our district, allowing for the capacity of 75 additional students at the elementary school level. And we're going to continue to try to find creative ways to handle the growth until we can get to a spot where we can afford the purchase of an additional elementary school. So in a fast nutshell, that is just a quick update of all of the things going on inside the Esticated School District. I want to thank the City Council for being a great partner and supporting us through that process. And I look forward to, and I'm very excited for the new leadership of Melanie Wagner and your team. And I just think the sky is the limit for us. And I look forward to the ability for us to partner and pair together so we can build a great community together.
Thank you, Ryan. That was very inspiring. And I just got to say, I'm kind of looking forward to that first night on that turf field.
Amen.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got to say, that's going to be an exciting moment. Do we have any questions for Ryan about the school? Jerry.
Hey Ryan, thanks for coming tonight. Hey, so at the high school, how many, I noticed I don't want to call them portables, but you guys have classrooms outside. How many classrooms inside the high school are at this point are unusable, or are you guys up to full capacity inside the high school?
We do have capacity. In fact, we believe we have 3 additional classroom spaces right now that are being utilized, but they're being utilized by third-party services. So ultimately, obviously, with the way that our world is changing, the school districts need to support our kids with more mental health and different types of traumatic types of counseling. We've been fortunate enough to have a lot of space at the high school that can support that third-party service. And we do think probably in about 3 years, we're going to need to start finding new places for office spaces for that third-party services, because we do believe right now at our elementary schools is pretty much at capacity right now. Our middle school, we believe, is going to be at capacity next year. And so over the course of the next 2 or 3 years is when we're really going to need to get serious about high school space. But we have to remember that in 1960s, that high school was built for about 1,500 kids at the height of the Esticated logging days. So of all of the schools that have capacity, I would say that we're best equipped at the high school right now. It's our elementary schools and middle schools where we're tight.
Great, thank you. Some more questions for Ryan? Who do we got up there?
Katie?
Katie.
Thanks for coming tonight, Ryan. Really, it's not a concern that I have, but I've seen a lot of talk online about people's fears, if that's what you want to call it, about education of critical race theory in our school district. And I was just hoping that you could give us a quick little blurb to maybe put some of those fears to rest, or just speak on that at any level.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. It's something that we've worked with our community on quite a bit, really through this whole entire process. And I think it's clear first and foremost to go back to our strategic plan. And nowhere in Esticated strategic plan does it call for us to teach our kids or incorporate the critical race theory in any of our curriculum. And so again, because our strategic plan is the driver of what we want our school district to be, we're really more focused on other elements in terms of what education should look like. Our school board of directors has also created policy that if we are to adopt new curriculum, it has to go through a process, which includes our community's yes or no vote in terms of that kind of stuff that we adopt. And at the end of the day, the school board gets the final determination as to what is taught from a curriculum perspective. And our school board has done a tremendous job of ensuring that the values of our community are represented inside of that. So I can tell you with confidence that critical race theory is not being utilized and or implemented as a holistic perspective inside our school district. And if parents do happen to come about things that may be of a potential concern from them, our school district is open and willing to work with each situation on a case-by-case basis as we work together. But in general, I would say we're different from other school districts, that we're very anchored on our mission, vision, and values. And critical race theory is not one of those priorities.
Thank you, Ryan. Joe.
Councilor Dunsmere took my first part of the question, but I kind of had to follow on there. And I think you kind of answered half of it already. As you've been seeing, there's a lot of things that go across the internet, and some of the questions that come to me. What about teachers that are trying to implement their own political bias and stuff into the classrooms rather than just teaching? How does the school plan to tackle that? And how would parents address it if they come across it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that. And I think it's important to recognize that bias comes from all different shapes and sizes. And we recognize that individual representatives of our school district in the classroom do and say things that either represent themselves as a person, as a professional, and in some cases, our school district. I think my advice for a parent, if they were to come across anything that they had a question and or a concern about, would be first to bring that up to a teacher. These are professional educators. And if there is a question or concern, that's where that should be addressed in the first place, is to seek clarification about the intent of either that lesson and or curriculum that was there. If a parent then is unsatisfied with the conversation that occurred between the classroom teacher, then we have next levels, which would include the principal and vice principal. And ultimately, as you work through the process, it gets to the school board level where they ultimately represent the constituency of our school district. And so there are many processes in place, and we just encourage our parents who do have concerns to start speaking with us.
Thank you. Any more questions up there? I don't see anybody raising their hand. All right, Ryan, we want to thank you tonight for your presentation and your group coming here and being a part of this. And our relationship between the city of Estacada and the school district is very important to all of us. So we hope that that continues as it has, and we only see great things coming in the future. So
It's my pleasure, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are now at citizen and community group comment. Do I have anybody? on it? No, nothing? Nothing in the room?
Anybody-
Okay.
Anybody online who wanted to would go ahead and raise your hand on Zoom. But we don't see any.
Nobody?
No.
Okay.
We're good.
We're moving along to the consent agenda. You've all had a chance to read over the consent agenda. If there's no questions, I'll take a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, I have a first on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Moving along to department and committee reports. Do any of you have any reports from your commissions or committees that you represent? Anybody up top? Paul?
Yeah, I met with the library board this past week. They've got a lot going on, a lot of activities coming up, and just encourage folks to go out, check out the website to find out what they've got going on. But one of the biggies coming up is the unveiling of the library van, which will be this Saturday. And all are welcome to come out for that. The time is, I think, late morning to early afternoon. And as I understand it too, there's a lot going on in Esticated on Saturday as well too. So there'll be a lot of things for folks to do coming up this Saturday. And just the other good news from the library, they're just seeing an increase in folks coming in, increased in library cards being issued as well too. So the library is open back up and is seeing folks coming in. That's great news.
Great, thank you, Paul. Anybody else? Joe?
No, just remind you about the parade coming up. So on 4th of July, that is.
Katie?
I just wanted to speak to what Counselor Strobel was just talking about with a lot of stuff going on in Estacada. We do have art in the park happening at Wade Creek Park this Saturday as well, which will be happening basically at the same time as the library van unveiling. So lots of exciting stuff. Art in the park on Saturday. Don't forget.
Okay, thank you, Katie. All right, that said, we have city manager's report.
Okay, I just have a couple things to share. First of all, we're looking forward to moving forward with the housing needs analysis process that we're in. I think my mic is a little hot, number 11 there. And so, yeah, I don't want to be too loud. Thank you. So staff is working on scheduling some appointments to go through the strategies that we have been talking about and meeting with the public about, and we'd like to talk with you prior to coming to hearings so we can hear from the council directly on these. So if you have not scheduled an appointment to meet with Taylor and Elena or myself, I think you have an email about that, or you can see me after the meeting or text me or call me after the meeting about getting that appointment scheduled. And that would be fantastic. And then also we wanted to just call to everybody's attention who's here and also listening in online that on May 16th, we're going to have our first What's Up Esticated. And it's an informal open door event for community members to visit with decision makers, staff, and local partners. And in an informal way to be able to visit and ask questions about projects or issues, share their perspective. We'll have some light refreshments and just a time to get together. And if you can't make it this time, because it is in person, it'll be on the 16th from 5 to 6 here at City Hall. And if you can't make it this time, then just watch for it to pop up next time. We're going to be doing this every few months. So we're looking forward to being able to really engage the community in person and on Zoom. So following that, that's from 5 to 6. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to roll into a listening session that will be in person here at City Hall, as well as on Zoom. So if you just want to join on Zoom for that, you can. It will be on inclusion and equity in local government. And just a little blurb about that. The city's holding a listening session for the council and DEI committee to hear from the community about inclusion and access issues in Estacada. Questions to share with the during this time would be, what barriers to access or inclusion have you experienced or witnessed in Esticated? And what questions or issues should the council consider to ensure access and inclusion for city services, programs, and infrastructure? And there'll be, I should say, for the first, for What's Up Esticated at 5, as well as for the listening session, we'll have Spanish translation available. So don't let that hold you back. And then we'll be providing a summary of that listening session to the council after it'll be DEI, mostly DEI committee and staff that'll be leading that. So just wanted to share about that, kind of give people a heads up because it's a new thing we're trying out. We'll probably have to, make adjustments along the way, but we'll figure out what's a good way to get engaged with the community. So
Great. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. Okay. We are now at council business. We are at the second consideration for ordinance 2022-006, an ordinance adopting franchise agreement with Portland General Electric Company. Now, we visited this a couple times already. So can I have a motion on the floor?
I move to approve ordinance 2022-006, an ordinance adopting a second franchise agreement with Portland General Electric Company.
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, first and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we are at the ordinance 2022-003, an ordinance amending Title II Administration and Personnel of the Esticated Municipal Code. Now, are there any questions on this or anything that you'd like to bring to this right now? Do I have any hands up there? I can't see. Is there anybody? Katie?
Honestly, I just wanted to say that this format was so much better and easier to understand than the last one. And I wanted to just thank city staff for putting it together the way that you did today. This is really, really well done. Just wanted to throw that out there. I have no questions.
Okay, great. Any questions out there? No? So everybody's good with it? Can I have a motion on the floor?
Actually, can I ask one question?
Sure, go for it.
We did strike that one thing from there. Just want to confirm that, right?
it was already, so when Councilor Licky and I were speaking on Friday about this, he brought to my attention something that I had not noticed to point out before, but on the very, well, if we're looking at attachment 2, it's the very last page of that in the DEI. So section 2.33.010, and the very last sentence there includes some examples that the DEI committee would potentially help out with. Is everybody able to find that? It says the examples include early budget discussion and community engagement assessments. And I would recommend adopting this ordinance, but removing that one statement. It was, it's not necessary for it to be in there, and it seemed like it was a little bit of an overreach. And then if there was another question that Councilor Licky had, but we were concerned about that.
Yeah, my only, Mayor. Cool. Yeah, my only recommendation was going to be just to strike the examples altogether, the whole phrase, because I didn't see much reason for it to be there at all.
Right, that whole, completely remove that sentence. Examples include, yes.
Yeah.
And so-
I read over that too, and that made sense. It didn't
Okay.
need to be there. Is there any questions up there with any of you on that one? Jerry, you raising your hand?
Yeah, so I did attend the DEIC meeting today, and the DEIC actually agreed to strike that example section from the description. So yeah, this is actually perfect. Just strike the example section and everything's perfect.
Good, thank you, Jerry. Anybody else wish to come on? No? Okay, I think we're all in agreement. So,
I had a question, Mayor.
Yeah.
Pertaining to this, but it wasn't necessarily to get it through. My question came this, I went through and I looked over the DEIC meetings to try to figure out where the wording for this came from. And I think I asked you about it too, Melanie. I wasn't able to see where this particular wording was voted and decided on. And I was wondering if you were able to produce anything, because I couldn't find anything. And I was wondering if we could get some clarification of where that particular wording came from, because it wasn't discussed in a public meeting.
The original recommendation came when former city manager Carrie was revising this code section. And so she had put in a section of code that was for the purposes that they were established, that was different than what we had, but it was similar. And then at the March 28th meeting, they did go over, and Jerry maybe wants to speak to that, but they did go over what they'd like it, what they felt comfortable with, how it related to the city of Estacada and not necessarily what another community was doing. And so that's what what's in here tonight is what they recommended, which was going back closer to, it's not exactly the same as the original, but it is their revision that is recommended. And after we discussed that and I looked at it, they did discuss it at the their March 28th meeting. And so I'm comfortable, and they discussed again today that I think Jerry could concur that.
yeah, Jerry, she's referring to you. You had that discussion today with the group?
And
That's what I said when I commented. Yeah, they talked about it today and agreed that everything less the example section, they agreed that everything striking the example section was our concern, was the council's concern. So striking the example section was, it was completely fine, and everything else that's in there is worded well. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's as long as that they've got a chance to look it over and they're agree with it. I'm good.
Okay.
I'll track my
Okay.
question.
Great, thank you, Councilor Litkey.
Now, in that, can I have a motion on the floor?
Okay. Let's see. I move to adopt ordinance 2022-033, an ordinance amending Title II Administration and Personnel of the Esticated Municipal Code.
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second?
With the revision as noted.
With revision as noted.
All right.
If you rephrase it to ordinance 2022-003, I will second it.
Okay, that's what we're doing. So we will second it. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Ordinance passes. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry for that typo in there.
That's all right.
Thanks,
It's
Jerry. Let's read the
Yeah.
paper.
All right. Moving right along, we are at the second citizen and community group comment. Do I have anybody
Can
on?
I ask one more question?
Sure.
I'm sorry, I should have probably put it as a separate agenda item versus just lumping it in with this ordinance. But did the council have any discussion on the recommendation for the boards and commissions code of conduct? Would you like to discuss that tonight, or would you like me to bring that back next time? Give you another chance to kind of look it over.
Well, yeah, I'd
and-
like to see it. I mean,
Yeah.
again, and take a look at it and just mull it over before.
And let's
we
talk
decide.
about, okay, so we'll bring back, so the ordinance will come back next time for a second review or a second vote. And then we'll talk about that code of conduct next time if that's, I keep looking.
Is that
at the
okay with
screen, I
everybody
can't see
next
me
time?
either.
Katie, you got your hand up?
Isn't this the second time that we've seen this code of conduct? And the code of conduct is in our packet. I've already read through it, and I actually I like the changes that were made based on our first initial discussion that we had last year when this was originally presented to us. I guess I'm confused as to why we're putting it off when we're looking at it again for the second time.
I'm comfortable either way. If there was a lot in there with the ordinance and I didn't put it as a separate agenda item. So if some people missed it and didn't take a look at it, I'm happy to talk about it next time. But if you want to discuss it this time, that's fine too.
Well, has everybody had a chance to look at it? Have you had a chance to look at it, Joel?
Uh,
Okay. Everybody up on the top of the screen there has had a chance to look at it. You're comfortable with it? We can vote on it then. How would you like to phrase that?
Mayor.
Yeah.
May. This, I don't think, this was a new addition to the packet, correct? So I didn't see this in last council.
It
meeting.
was in the last packet, but it was put in directly as a, from a different city. And it says, we were showing you, this is what this other city was using. And I think that's what, I'm not sure, but I think that's what was discussed with City Manager Carey previously. So this was reworked to say City of Estacada. It's how we would present it to the commissioners or to the commissions and boards. And so if I just was looking for feedback on it, and if there's a consensus that this would be good, we could just make a motion to approve it.
Yeah.
Or you could review it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I looked through it. I didn't see anything that jumped off at me. We can always amend if something comes back later on.
True.
So
This is true.
I was just wanted to understand where you were, because it sounded like you were looking for feedback, but not a full vote on it. And I just wanted to make sure that.
If everybody's good with it, I'm comfortable with going ahead and having the council approve this, and we'll start implementing it.
Sounds like everybody's in agreement. So can I have a motion on the floor?
I will move to approve the City of Estacada Boards and Commissions Code of Conduct.
Okay, great. I have a first. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. As I said, we are at the next citizen and community group comment. Do I have any on the screen? No. Okay, seeing none in the room, we'll move along to mayor council reports and comments. I will start with you, Paul.
Just on my end, I was able to make it upriver along with a ton of other people, and it was just fantastic getting back upriver. To me, it is amazing seeing how much beauty is still up there. Also amazing seeing how many rafts were out on the river, how many kayaks were out on the river. So it's good to see Esticated open again. There's a lot to do upriver still, and we welcome folks to come out and explore and check things out. It was great seeing people downtown on that first Sunday. It was so beautiful outside, and just seeing the streets full and so many people upriver. So encourage people to get the chance, if they get the chance to go. But otherwise, thanks for a great meeting tonight.
Thank you, Paul. Katie.
As always, thank you, city staff. The packet was really well put together today, and I really did appreciate the revisions to the ordinance for the board. So I really appreciated that. I just wanted to take a minute tonight to remind everybody that the Oregon primary election is happening next week. And even though I am not a Democrat or a Republican, I still got a ballot. So if you got a ballot, there are countywide elections that are still going on, and it's important for you to vote. And I just wanted to remind everybody that it's that time to vote for Oregon primaries. So thank you again, city staff, and for everybody being here. And thank you, Ryan Carpenter, and the school district or the school board people. Thank you for coming.
Jerry.
Again, I want to apologize for not being there in person. Whatever this cold or whatever it is going around really got me this week. I hope none of you get it. Hopefully it avoids the majority of Estacada. It was pretty miserable. Thank you, city staff. Just like every meeting, you guys give us all the information we need and everything we need to make good decisions for the community. And I really appreciate the work you put in. Thank you for everybody. Thank you for everybody that showed up, listening to us go through all of this. And thank you all, my fellow council members and Mr. Mayor, for the work you put in. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Jerry. Justin.
Thank you, school board and Ryan, for being there tonight. It's always nice to hear those updates. I am one who is a very proud Esticadian when it comes to our school district. So great job, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, city staff as well. I don't have really anything else tonight, so thanks, guys.
Great, thank you, Justin. Joel?
Just a couple things. First of all, kind of bounce off of what Katie, Councilor Dunsmore had said. We do have a drop box for ballots right outside the city hall here. So if people want to drop off their ballots, they can physically bring them in. The most important thing I want to talk about tonight is what most people don't realize that we just passed in here too. Which part of this was actually the Traffic and Public Safety Committee was formed by voting that in tonight. So I wanted to read a little bit about what that was so that those watching this can understand what we passed and what's there. There's created a Traffic and Public Safety Committee, which is an advisory board and whose duties and responsibilities shall be as follows: to advise the city council in the creation, development, and implementation of official traffic and public safety activities, develop and recommend coordinated traffic safety and public safety programs, recommend traffic safety and public safety priorities for the city, provide research and information to the city on matters related to traffic and public safety, promote public acceptance of traffic and public safety programs, foster public knowledge and support of traffic law enforcement, public safety, and traffic engineering problems and needs, and perform other duties as assigned by the city council. Membership is the committees shall consist of 7 members, including up to 2 business owners who may or may not be residents of the city. The remaining members shall be residents of the city. Initially, 4 members shall serve a 3-year term and 3 shall serve a 2-year term. At the expiration of the initial terms, each position shall be filled for a 2-year term. So that means we'll be opening that up soon. So if you're fall into that membership category, if you're a citizen inside the city limits or you own a business and you're interested, you can start reaching out to the city whenever that's opened and they'll start getting information on it. So this wanted to make sure that was well announced and should be looking for on the website as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. And for me, as always, I'm very proud of our school district. I think they have done wondrous things and they're continuing to perform above and beyond. And I can never say enough good things about them. And I appreciate everything that they do going forward. And in that, I want to say good night and have a great week. And we'll see you next time around. This meeting is adjourned.